Hello, what have we here?
You're wrong.
Damn!
What the hell was that?
Game over, man. Game over.
You're wrong.
You finished?
Well, I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to this crazy little thing we call the Weekend Geek, our midweek dose of geekery for you, the people. This is where we go through all the various detritus and debris of the random bits of geekery from the interwebs, wrangle it all together into the free-range Idiocy corral, and proceed to fillet it and grill it up for you one topic at a time. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is the lead editor-in-chief bottle washer of the Weekend Geek. I give you the Sith they call Tim. No, the man they call Tim. Do it.
Go! If you close your eyes, your life a naked truth revealed. Dreams you never lived and scars never healed. Scars never healed. In the darkness, light will take you to the other side. Find me waiting there. You'll see if you just close your eyes. If you just close your eyes. If you just close your eyes.
What the heck was that?
That was Just Close Your Eyes.
Like
The theme of the WWE theme for Christian. Greetings
Okay.
and salutations, my friend. How are you?
I am doing well. I just got to tell you, some of the enunciation there is great because I feel like it's Christopher Walken in a car. Who he's reading something, he just looks up, he's like, ah! Frightened by what's going on around him. Which is kind of how I picture Christopher Walken a lot of the time. Just being startled. Like, ah!
Booyaka!
Yeah.
Can't forget about Booyaka, my friend. Cannot forget it.
Oh my gosh. The thing is, they actually probably someone knew Christopher Walken and ended up working that into the song, and now it's come full circle.
Indeed.
But I'm doing well, sir. How about yourself? How are you doing this week?
Hey, I'm hanging on for dear life out here in the Midwest. We just had ourselves the dust storm of 2025.
Auntie M, it's a twister.
And by dust storm, I mean for about 60 to 90 minutes on a Friday evening, we had ourselves a little bit of some ballyhoo with the weather, with the wind, and it was whipping up a concoction of dirt, and more dirt, apparently, and I got to tell you, Saturday, every car wash in the 20-mile radius of where I live had cars out on the road. The lines were huge, I tell you.
But I'm telling you, the good thing about this is the man they call Tim, the ingenious person that he is, made good use of this. He went outside, ran around naked, and he got completely just debilitated. So he is clean right now.
I don't know if I quite did that, but, I have been known on occasion.
His wife's very happy because shedding season was upon us. It's like having a golden retriever around the house.
I got to say, though, after dinner, we were talking about going for a walk at this park that is not far from where we live. Mm-hmm. It's got like a pretty large pond there. We've taken the kids to fish there and stuff like that. But we did a walk around our neighborhood, and the way the wind was gusting, mm-hmm. like as we were walking to start our walk, like a branch fell from one of the trees and crashed on the sidewalk, and then we're looking at that like, yeah, probably going to a wooded area on a dirt path around a pond is probably the last place we should be during a wind gusty sort of situation like this, because, if that's going to fall off of a tree in a nice neighborhood, there's probably all sorts of debris flying everywhere. So,
honey, this is an omen.
Yes, we're gonna stay home, watch some TV, and the interesting thing was, like, visibility wise, because it did talk about it could be a visibility zero situation. So I while we were watching TV, I was kind of keeping an eye on our window to see if it ever got like super bad, and it really didn't. I mean, the wind the gusts were crazy. Like, I don't know if it, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 70, 80 miles an hour at certain points. Like there was really like some serious gusting going on. But the next morning when I headed out for my early morning workout, our car is white, and I went up to it. And for those who have lived this, when your car's outside and you know how there's the pollen, there's a little bit of a film on your car, and I thought that's what it was. And then I look closer and there's dirt, and it's just like a film of dirt. And I get in, windshield kind of looked like right out of the Blues Brothers when they're pulling up to the pulling up to the building to pay the tax bill, or whatever that was, when Elwood's out hanging out the window trying to like wipe it down, or sorry, not Elwood, Jake was out hanging out the window doing that. So yeah, it was interesting to say the least. So yeah, but no, we have survived. And then Sunday, I got to send Uncle Todd some pictures, but I made myself some barbecue chicken, the likes of which you have never seen, and it was phenomenal.
Now this is a rarity for you because you're usually a red meat fella, so you actually this is health conscious for you.
This is rarity on two fronts. One, normally a red meat guy. That's this coming weekend. They call it Memorial Day weekend. I call it Meat Oriole Day weekend, because we're gonna have some New York strip going on. What's that?
Meat oral?
I said meat Oriole.
Oh, okay. I was like, what you do in the comfort of your own home.
Got to clean your ears out. But yes, we did chicken. We had some chicken Sunday, and I used this sauce we got at the French market. Found a vendor who is a very nice guy who's selling spices and sauces, and it's a bourbon barbecue sauce. Mm-hmm. So I put it on to start, cooked the chicken for a good 40, 45 minutes. And then just when it was getting to 165, I throw another layer of sauce on top just to, warm it up a little bit, but you still taste the bourbon on it. This was something he recommended, so you have the bourbon taste. Mm-hmm. And man, was he right, and it was amazing.
I was waiting for you to say that you just then drenched it in like Wild Turkey 101. Just
I could have done
turkey
that.
Flambe.
Yeah, I was going to say flambe it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So yes. So good weekend overall. How was your weekend? You sir? Well, not in this busy episode, but the next episode. Dedication to the show, my friend. Dedication to the show. Dedication to the band. Dedication to family. The trifecta this weekend for you. Let's hear about it.
Zero rest. I don't know how I'd managed to do that. So Friday night I binged the rest of Andor so that we could talk about that on this coming free range Idiocy Friday. And then Saturday I had a gig with a band, and then also had to pick Kaylin up at her friend's prom. So that accounted for a good portion of the day. And then Sunday we had Kaylin's 18th birthday, which was very exciting. Nice. And then, so doing the setup, tear down, the cleanup, the entertaining, the moving about, the bustling here, there, and everywhere.
Now you're talking to me.
And then by the time we get done, the fun part was we ordered pizza because like cooking was not going to happen. No. So we got a bunch of pizzas from one of the it was a Sam's Club or something, which actually smelled fantastic. But I couldn't eat any of them because they're all it's all the gluten and then some. So after doing all this stuff to get set up for the party, get home, guests are arriving. And I'm like, all right, now I get to make my pizza.
More work.
But it did give me a chance to have a nice, rewarding cold beer while I was making my pizza. So I was like, all right, this works out well.
Nice.
Everyone else is outside mingling, and I'm like rolling out dough. Like, all right, this isn't so bad.
Nice.
But no, a rather busy weekend. It was nice to get back to the gym and do some work today. It was actually relaxing.
Very cool. Very cool. By the way, I had a inadvertent PR on Saturday in my workout. Saturday's usually cardio day, and my trainer's been having me, kind of condition up on this thing called the acid bath. It is called that because it is 3 intense exercises that usually kick the lactic acid in your body into full swing. It is a 500-meter pull on the skier. It is a 500-meter pull on the rower. And then it is a 1,000-meter ride on the Aerodyne bike, which is 0.62 miles. And we weren't doing it for time. It was just, pace yourself. I did the skier at like 80%, did the rower at like 80%. Like when I'm doing the rowing, like I'm pulling really hard, but I'm like, when I get here, I take a breather and then I go and do the next. And then the thing that I think has happened here is I think the weight training we're doing on Wednesday has given me more power. So when I'm pulling with more power, so I'm covering more distance.
Yep.
And the bike is normally my Achilles heel because I'm so gassed at that point, getting on the bike, that as I'm pedaling, you ever get that like rush, like you're close to your goal and you're like, but you feel like your wind is just not there, and it's like, I'm not going to make it, but I'm so close to making it, but I'm not, like you're kind of on that edge. Happens to me every freaking time. And like my head, and it's a mental thing. It's a complete mental thing. Like I psych myself out because I'm like, I can't do it. I'm going to fall over. And then of course I do it, but I just, well, anyways, I get done and my trainer, Jimmy, looks at me and he's like, we weren't doing this for time. I'm like, no, we weren't. He was timing me though. My last time doing the acid bath was like the very first time I did it. It was 7 minutes, 7 minutes, 20 seconds. Second time I did it about 2 months ago. And when I really went hard, I was 6 minutes and 12 seconds.
Some good progress.
Yeah. Saturday, 5 minutes and 42 seconds.
Damn, good on you, sir.
Like not even trying to go hard. Like that's the crazy part. Like,
well, that's sometimes the key is when you're not concentrating on that.
Yeah. So I was proud of myself for that.
Good on you, sir.
Went and got myself a little Starbucks egg, sausage and cheese, and a
let me undo all the good work I just did.
Venti chai latte iced to celebrate.
So I got some fat and a sugar bomb. Woohoo!
Hey, there's protein in there.
Okay. Might as well just have a scoop of Crisco on top of your sausage, but hey, whatever.
Hey, so what is this in our notes here? I see Uncle Todd has some greetings to share with our listeners.
Well, yes. So this is a little mini segment I'm gonna try here for a little while. It's called Greetings from Wherever You Are. Just because I was looking through our statistics on the audio side of our production. And it's kind of funny, of course, number one for, they give a breakdown of each, the numbers of each show and all this, but then they kind of give you an idea of who's listening globally. Like what are the top countries who are listening to our podcast? And so, of course, the number one is United States, because, that's where we're at. We're speaking English and we're talking about a lot of stuff that would be relevant in the US, but we do have listeners around the globe. And so, the other 4 out of the top 5. So greetings to our listeners in Australia, Japan, the Netherlands, and Poland.
Wow. Our friends in the Polish regions, eh?
We've got some diversity amongst our listeners. Although Australia has been kind of in the top 5 for a while. Every time I go there, they're right up there as well. So we must our sense of humor and twistedness must dovetail really nicely with the Aussies, which I'm okay with.
I wonder.
You wonder what?
If we need to take a trip down to Australia, to Sydney, and just see if our faces are somehow plastered up on some billboards. Like we're actually like stars down there. We're considered, I
don't think it's quite at that level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was just figuring.
I mean, if you want to do that, we can. Let's time it for what's the WWE event that they just got through promoting? They broke Grayson Waller out of cryogenics.
Was it Crown Jewel?
Yes.
Is it Crown Jewel?
They're going to have that in Australia. So they had Rhea Ripley and Grayson Waller, who I'm like, he's still signed with them? Oh, my God. They dig him out for these because they're like, we just can't send Rhea.
I got to tell you, and I'll cover this in my end, another thing. There was a point in time I thought about maybe thinking about trying to dip my toe in the waters of wrestling when I was younger. Because I had such an interest in it. I enjoyed it, but I just didn't have the discipline to work.
You had functional joints.
No lie. My shoulder wasn't giving me fits. But I got to tell you, thank the good Lord I never went down that road, because I think I would have just lost my mind with the inconsistency, and I'm going to touch on this when we get to my end. Another thing, the inconsistency in how they judge talent. There are some very interesting ideas and some very interesting decisions that get made. And I know I'm talking about a show that I watched, and that can't be all of it, but someone decided Grayson Waller somehow needed to be on our television screen, and I'm trying to figure out who. Someone decided the Creed brothers were fit to be on television, and I'm trying to figure out who they have something on, because that's got to be the primary way. I just don't see it. They are just two of the most awkward physical specimens you've ever seen grace the squared circle. And so and then this show that I watched on A&E, I'm kind of baffled by some choices they made. And these are wrestlers I respect who I think have a good sense of the business, but I'm like, guys, you're making choices that are in complete opposition to what you just said. So I just, anyways, all that to say, I don't know. Somehow I got on this wrestling thing. I think we were talking about Crown Jewel in Australia, which takes us back to greetings from Australia.
Yeah, I teed you up. I teed you up with Grayson Waller, and
you did.
I should have known better. I done did it.
Yeah.
I done did it. I should have left that one
Chaos.
in the vault.
Should have left it in the vault.
What are you gonna do? But anyways, greetings to all of our listeners around the globe, all the members of the Free Range Idiocy congregation, no matter what time zone you're in or what language you speak. We thank you for listening.
Yes, we do.
And now on to a Week in Geek that is actually the concept of what the Week in Geek started out as. We've been living in wrestling world, and kind of using the Week in Geek as a way to talk about wrestling and still have another topic to talk about on Friday. Yeah. This week, though, we have no Raw cheers and jeers because we are actually recording on Monday night. So Raw is actually happening right now.
In some ways, we're trying to break ourselves. I think of like not that the Raw cheers and jeers are bad, but it's like I think we just got into a pattern of every week, and maybe it's something we just bring out every now and then, you know?
And the other thing too is we were just trying to catch up on so much wrestling, so it just all got backloaded.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
now it's nice out. We're getting to the nice time of the year.
I don't know about it's not very nice here. We had clouds and rain today, and then it's gonna be cloudy tomorrow and Wednesday, and then from Thursday through the weekend it's supposed to just rain. Yeah. So far in Maine this year, in spring, we have not had a weekend where it has not rained. So yay!
I'm sorry. It was 90 degrees here on Thursday. And,
just shut your
today
ass.
It was a high of 48. So, and
you deserve it.
Weather is wonderful.
Yes. But anyways, this brings us to what? You are the lead editor here, sir. So what
the Week in Geek, sir. So as you mentioned, we have listeners in Japan. Maybe some of our Star Wars content is the reason for that, because, and we're about a month late on this one, but hey, as a great man once said,
a month late on all these stuff.
As a great man once said, it's better to have Al Green and not use him than to need Al Green and not have him. So
that was not Al Green.
It wasn't? Oh, I thought it was Dave Letterman who had Al Green.
It was Dave Letterman, and he had, oh crap. Who was it?
Thought it was Al Green.
It wasn't Teddy Pendergrast. It was Lou Rawls.
Oh, was it Lou Rawls?
It's better to have Lou Rawls and not need him than to need Lou Rawls and not have him. And for like an entire summer, he was there in the green room. And I legit think he was there because I don't know that Lou Rawls was all that busy, and he was dressed in a different thing. And I think they showed him with some of the other guests a couple times, but he was just in the green room.
Nice.
I'm like, that's kind of nice that Dave's paying Lou Rawls to show up there.
So we have had this in the holster for quite some time, and have had to punt, and punt again. But Star Wars Celebration 2025, which I, by the way, totally forgot was every 2 years. I thought it was like a yearly thing, but
I did too.
It's every two. Apparently, in 2027, it will be in LA, so it'll be back stateside. Mm-hmm. I will tell you from listening to the Scruffies and listening to them lament and talk about the costs of trying to go to Japan to see this thing, and the costs of the passes. And there was a recent episode. It was an episode from I think March that I was catching up on, and it was one of their guests was talking about. I think they're going, and just the ticketing and the pass situation was just kind of. It just sounds like it is. It's just like whip that wallet out and just prepare to pay and pay again. So,
dude, Lord, like this just seems to be happening with everything now.
Yeah,
like. I'm not even talking concerts, because concerts have always been kind of overpriced for quite a while now. But like when I looked, there was the Comic-Con out in Chicago that I wanted to go to, where they were doing the BSG reunion.
Oh, right. Yep.
I'm just looking at the prices for that. I'm like, who can afford this? Like, who can realistically afford this?
And for our listeners, like when we were looking at this, like it was probably close to 500.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was close to 500 just for admission.
Yeah, just
to
to
get
door.
into the show.
And then you got to pay for everything else.
And then every star you wanted to meet, you had to pay a fee for. If you wanted a picture with them, you had to pay a fee on top of that. So there was like an entry fee to get into the show, and then an entry fee to simply get in line for someone, and then like another cost to like be able to like interact with them or get a picture or a signature or something. I mean, it was like 3 layers of entry fees. It was incredible.
Yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me if it was almost like the old school telegrams. Like every word that was spoken between the two of you, that you get a bill afterwards. Like, hey, you owe us an additional $300.
Yeah.
No, it's insane. And then you look at like the WWE tickets, and you know, just because that's something that we've kind of talked about, and now it's like, I don't know that who can afford any of this stuff anymore,
right.
You know, and it's kind of crazy. But I mean, on the other hand, it is nice that you have, at least for wrestling, you have, you know, indie promotions that are kind of picking up some slack. And as far as music, you can always go see local bands.
That's right.
We're cheaper. But yeah, it's crazy, dude. Like I mean, just even getting to Japan gonna cost you. But I mean, for something like this, it doesn't surprise me that it's like every red cent is gonna get wrung out of you. Yeah. It's got to be insane. I don't even want to know the numbers.
Yep, but
Anyways,
it happened.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It happened. People showed up, and there were some major announcements that came out of the show that I just wanted to kind of walk us through real quick. So at a high level, we have I'm just run through these quick, and then I have a slightly more detailed breakdown, courtesy of ChatGPT. The event included news about a new Star Wars film starring Ryan Gosling. There's details on Sean Levy's upcoming Star Wars film. A new Darth Maul series was announced, and there was the reveal of a new Grogu experience in the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. It also marked the return of Celebration LA in 2027, which I already talked about. So this new film, Star Wars Starfighter, it is titled Starfighter, like I just said, starring Ryan Gosling, set 5 to 6 years after the rise of Skywalker, and this film is described as a standalone adventure featuring a new cast. So interesting. What are your thoughts? I mean, you know, we don't have a lot of details, so I don't know that there's much we can dive into here, but Ryan Gosling his star has increased over the years. I think riding high, coming off of the smash hit Barbie, and
holy cow, he's married to Eva Mendes?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. Huh. I knew him from, he is absolutely hysterical in The Big Short. If you've ever seen that, it's a movie about the crash in 2008, and Christian Bale's in it, Steve Carell's in it, and Ryan Gosling is in it as a individual who made some money off of this catastrophe, and but he also is this character who breaks the fourth wall and just is absolutely hysterical. Like, he's just unapologetic as far as who his character is, and he just plays that sort of character really well. I think I have to imagine he's going to be more of a rogue type character in this movie. I think he plays that sort of role really well, and so I'm kind of looking forward to if this is going to end up being a little bit more of a smuggler / kind of ne'er-do-well adventure sort of movie. Not saying it'll be like what was the one we just saw? Skeleton Crew. Because Judd, what's his name?
Nelson.
No.
Jude Law.
Jude Law. Thank you, Jude Law.
Not his brother Judd Law.
Oh my God. As soon as I said Judd, I wanted to say Nelson, but I'm like, that's not the right guy.
He's the lesser known of the Law brothers.
The law firm of Jude and Judd.
It's like that lost Manning brother they just don't talk about.
No. It's not Ed Fett. No one compares to Ed Fett. Accountant.
Intergalactic accountant.
Intergalactic accountant. Probably works for Atten. Anyways.
Did you know that you can deduct your blaster recharges?
All the time.
No bantha food, though. No bantha food. That's
no. We also, with regard to The Mandalorian and Grogu, a highly anticipated theatrical release, which is coming out. I don't know if that's this year or next year.
I think it's next year. Let me look.
That was also discussed with details about the film and the return of Pedro Pascal and Jon Favreau. What
Looks
else?
like next year.
Next year, okay. The new animated series Maul Shadow Lord, a new series focusing on Darth Maul, was announced. Let's see, The Mandalorian and Grogu first look. Attendees got a first look at Rory McCann's. Oh, okay. I don't know why this is tied to Mandalorian and Grogu. That's interesting. But attendees got a first look at Rory McCann. Rory McCann played the Hound in Game of Thrones. He is going to be taking over the mantle of Balin Skoll from
Yes.
Ray. What's his name? Sorry, I was hoping you could fill in the last name. You did so well with Jude Law. I thought you'd help me here.
I've got no idea. Ray, I don't know. Hang on. Jeez.
Ray Finestone. Sounds right, but it's probably wrong.
Stevenson.
That was wrong. Way off.
Wasn't it?
No, you're right. Ray Stevenson. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, he played the character in season 1 of Ahsoka. Sadly, passed away of a heart attack, I believe, early last year. And so now we are looking at Rory McCann, who, if you are familiar with Game of Thrones, played a phenomenal character in The Hound. And so I'm excited to see his interpretation of Skoll and how he carries the mantle forward. Let's see, Grogu on Smuggler's Run. Visitors will be able to interact with Grogu on, this is a helpful description, on Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. I could have said that. Star Wars Visions Season 3. I'm halfway through Season 1. I started to watch it when it came out initially, and I just never kind of made my way to the end of it. Probably need to catch up with that after I watch Rebels.
I ain't watched none of it, so you're ahead of me. I haven't even finished Skeleton Crew.
And then, Star Wars Celebration. We're probably missing some detail here, having not been there, but it was, it sounded like a good event. For me, nothing. I don't know that anything like super, impactful came out of it. You know what I mean? Like even with these announcements and stuff, there wasn't like any, footage that came out or news that was like Star Wars worthy. So I don't know. I think it was what it was. It was a fan fest and kind of a mild one overall in my mind.
Yeah, glad I saved my money. Not like I had it anyways. Anyways.
Although I did find let me see. I did look up an article. It was a CNN article about the Star Wars Starfighter standalone movie. So Sean Levy, known for Deadpool and Wolverine, just for those keeping score. Right. Film will introduce new characters and explore a previously uncharted period in the Star Wars universe distinct from the Skywalker saga. Let's see. Gosling expresses excitement about joining the franchise, highlighting the script's originality and the film's heart and adventure. I believe that. Skeleton Crew has me believing that we got some people that maybe know how to tell a story when they're not anchored to the Skywalkers or, some other long-term properties in the Star Wars universe. Like, I think, if you let some people tell stories and you don't have those anchors you have to tie to, you can tell some really entertaining stuff and do it in a very compelling way. Production timeline. Film is slated to begin production in fall 2025. Its release is planned for May 28th of 2027, which is interesting because that will align with the next celebration in LA, which will happen probably a month before. And prior to Gosling's involvement, Oscar-winning actress Mikey Madsen was reportedly offered a role in the film but declined. So why did we even include this in this?
Because you got to have something here, man. Like you're obviously still trying to fill the blanks on this. So,
yes. All right. Well, that is. Anything else, sir, on Star Wars Celebration?
No. I mean, I think it sounds like an interesting story. We'll see. I mean, it'd be kind of nice to see maybe Oscar Isaac make an appearance in this, but it would make sense. I mean, he made it out of the Rise of Skywalker, and he's the only member of that cast, I believe, that doesn't hate Star Wars at this point, or have a good reason to, because I think Daisy Ridley, I think she's stepped away from acting right now.
No, but she's coming back for the next movie.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Oh,
she's
okay.
doing.
It's mostly Boyega who's just like, and what's her face? Tran.
Oh, right. Wasn't her name
Rose.
Rosie? Rose.
It was Rose. The name of the character was Rose. I was it Marie?
I don't.
I can't remember. but she got done dirty, and Boyega. Both those actors and their characters got done dirty in the last Star Wars movie. It was terrible.
She was portrayed by Kelly Marie Tran.
Hey, look at that! I got a third of it right.
You did. We'll give it to you.
Well, wait.
All right.
What was the name again? Kelly
Marie. I think.
Didn't I say Marie or no? I said Anne or something.
You did say Marie.
I did. So
You
I got
did.
2/3 of it right.
You did.
Look at me.
You are amazing.
This means the rest of this show is going to go downhill for me. I've used up all of my intelligence at the beginning. I'm
Indeed.
sorry in advance, folks.
All right. Well, moving along.
Yes.
So there was a Fantastic Four trailer. It came out at CinemaCon, and it revealed some new details about the movie. Do we want to go through? Yeah, I think we have some time to go through that.
Sure.
I at first I thought the link was to the trailer itself. I forgot it was to an actual article. So,
Is that the one that's in theaters right now?
that's in. Oh yes,
The one they played before Thunderbolts.
Yes, the one that has like Galactus walking through the city, and you see the big foot come down. And
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
So let's see. What do we learn from this trailer? Just going through this. Okay, so as we already know, the heroes are in kind of a retro futuristic setting. Everything looks kind of like 1960s inspired, and feels like it's going to be in a different universe than the main Marvel universe, Earth 616, that we're accustomed to. I think the interesting thing from this trailer was the introduction of the Silver Surfer, who is, if you will, a herald of Galactus. Letting the foursome know that Earth has been selected or marked for death, kind of setting the stage for the central conflict. Silver Surfer, played by Julia Gardner, who you may remember her if you were a fan of the show. If I can do this quick enough. Oh God, free Daniel. Ozark. There it is. I started watching season 1 of Ozark. I gotta go back and watch that. It's a very difficult show to get through, as it's
Ozark.
Ozark.
What's it? Was that one of the ones I don't know. There was like 5 or 6 shows at one point that I had like kind of on my list of like, hey, check these out. They look kind of weird and goofy and stuff. And I apparently lost that list because I went back and rewatched a bunch of other crap that I'd seen 100 times.
It's kind of depressing.
Really?
It's a show. Well, not depressing. It's just the characters are hard. It's one of those shows, kind of like Succession, where it's hard to root for the characters. Like, they're so deplorable in some ways. You're like, oh God, I cannot watch any more of this, you know? But Succession was different. Like, you hated seeing those people, but you were so into the story, and it was done just so well. What else we got here? Let's see. From the trailer, Sue Storm apparently is going to be expecting. And there's implication of young Franklin Richards, who I don't know the comics well enough to know what the child of Sue Storm is going to do, but apparently Franklin possesses some immense powers. Now, I just want to make it very clear here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Franklin Richards, not Seth Franklin Rollins, all right? So just want to be clear. And there will be no Charles Montgomery Punk either. All right. So I just want to say that for the record here. Say it for the record.
That's more depressing than anything.
Yeah. But yeah, in the comics, Franklin possesses immense powers, including reality warping abilities, suggesting his potential significance in the MCU's future storyline.
And he possesses an immense plower as well. Plower power.
It's power.
Peace, love, and plower.
You know what?
I think
you
our
can
dynamic,
take over if you want.
Our dynamic is veering towards Uncle Corny and his co-host
Yes.
Brian Lass, where Corny just goes on, and you can tell Brian is just so sick of his crap, but this is his gravy train to ride, so he's just like, whatever.
Yep.
Like, he's alternately amused and also just like, would you please just shut up for a few minutes?
I just love those parts of Corny's show where he just downshifts into a commercial.
Oh yeah,
and he's just talking about something, and he's reading the copy, like what the hell is this? And Brian Last tries to explain it to him, and he just is like, he's just flabbergasted.
Well, I like the fact that it like his segues. He goes out of his way to make his segues so ham-fisted that it's like it's obvious that he's going into a commercial.
Yes.
Because Corny's just like, I don't care. I mean, his house is probably paid for 10 times over. You know, it doesn't strike me as someone who wants to go out a lot or travel. He's probably just like, I just want to sit home and watch wrestling and be left alone. Like, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably got enough money for that. So he's like, all right, cool.
Why
I don't
not?
care if you don't like the way I read your advertising. Thank you. F you. Bye.
That's right. That's right. Amen.
Anyways,
and amen.
I derailed us again. Please, sir. Take us back to where we were.
Let's see the next point out of the trailer. So as we talked about, we see parts of Galactus, who may or may not be the central antagonist. I say it that way because I have an article coming up here that may question that, which I'd like to get your opinion on.
Okay.
But Galactus, portrayed by Ralph Ineson, I don't know if I'm Ineson, is introduced as the planet-devouring cosmic entity threatening Earth.
So yeah, it totally sounds like a face.
Yeah. Unlike previous CGI renditions, Galactus is brought to life through a fully costumed performance, enhancing the film's tangible realism. Okay.
So it's just like Godzilla stomping on like 1961.
I wonder if we're going to get
Hong
like,
Kong?
like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer kind of style puppetry in this one, where it's like, or like Santa Claus is coming to town, where it's like, you're moving in like, all these different, oh my gosh. By the way, someone on Instagram started to do like, especially on the holidays, did like this guy did like this rendition of Silver and Gold, where the way he filmed himself was in that style. So as he's talking and stuff, he's moving like the characters. It was freaky to see a human move that way. It's very freaky.
Yeah, it's the uncanny valley.
Yes, it is.
Not good.
No, it's not. What else? Let's see. Directed by Matt Schachman, known for WandaVision, film employs practical effects, vintage camera lenses, and miniature models to achieve its unique visual style. And this is, I'm excited about. The score is composed by Michael Giacchino, who is a composer from Lost, who does phenomenal sounds and music.
Doesn't he also do a lot of video game stuff?
He might do that too. I mean, the guy is very talented.
Who's it? Shoot, who was I just listening to?
I don't know.
Oh, it was the Sackhoff show where they were talking about the Star Trek short that they did. I almost want to say it was either him or his or that's his son. I can't remember. Anyways, whatevs.
Interesting.
Go ahead and go back and listen to the Sackhoff show.
What else? I think that's pretty much it for the trailer. So the release of this one will be next month, 2 months from now, July 25th, 2025. 3 days post the man they call Tim's half-centennial birthday.
I know. Look at that. Happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you. I'm
we've
still
got
trying to
that-
figure out what the heck I want to do for my birthday. So
We've got that on the Free Range Idiocy calendar for sure. I think that is one of the tentpole events in the next few months for us.
Good Lord.
What?
What does that mean, a tentpole event? You got
that's like-
something planned?
Like a tentpole franchise tentpole. It's like the
Alright.
thing that holds all the other things up. Like
Alright.
I have no idea what we're doing most of the time. So it's like every so often there's something. It's like, hey, we've got this one show that we know what the hell we're doing. Otherwise,
All right.
All
right.
Oh my gosh, I just saw myself when I do that. I was like, that was not a good look for me.
What do you mean?
I most of the time
Brings
I
out
have
your lats.
So the way that this
When you do
back
that-
here,
No, aren't your lats here?
I don't know. Even if they're here, how are you going to see them? Like, anyways,
Well, because you're kind of doing.
normally I have a double window going on here. So like you're over here, and then I have a browser window over here. Well, over here is where is my view of myself. So I usually have that blocked because I don't want to look at myself.
Mm-hmm.
I just so happen to have that moved out of the way, and I saw myself do that. I'm like, hang on a minute, let me get that screen back over there. Good, now I can't see myself again. All is right with the world.
There it is. All right. Well, that article, by the way, I don't think I gave credit for that one, was from Variety.com, purveyors of all that is variety and varietal.
Hollywoodish.
Yes. Our next article, and this one is kind of interesting to me. It's from ScreenRant.com. And this is entitled, let me pull this up, Galactus is actually saving the universe from Mr. Fantastic's MCU mistake, according to this theory. What do you think of this, sir? That Galactus might actually be a misunderstood entity.
Well, I mean, obviously, this looks like we are, if we are to believe the end of the Thunderbolts post-credits scene, that an interdimensional spacecraft is appearing, which is one of those things where you're like, and this how? Like, those are some banger sensors you got going on there that are tracking this thing that's never happened before.
Yeah.
But if they're coming from another dimension, well, then yeah, it's an alternate reality and all this. I mean, yeah, maybe in the same way that Thanos was a good guy in some universe, like, sure, maybe Galactus is he's like the jolly green giant. Ho ho ho! Let me save your planet. Instead of devouring it. I guess it's possible, but what does that make? Does if the Fantastic Four, if they're escaping their universe, I mean, yeah, I mean, the weird thing is with something like this is like, it feels like so much is on the table that it's like, well, yeah, of course it's possible. Now, is it probable? I mean, it's more probable than a lot of the ideas I'd have, but
yeah,
I don't know if I was a betting man on this. But then again, I mean, keep in mind, like, I used to read Fantastic Four books, back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I mean like 30 some odd, I'm like almost 40 years ago. So it's been a while, you might say.
Yeah.
So I'm not very well versed in all of that to be able to say, oh yes, that totally could happen. So I'd say it's probable. I don't know how high the probability is, I guess, is how I'm going to couch that statement.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about what this article is raising is that the misunderstanding of Galactus is like he's a misunderstood cosmic entity whose actions are influenced by Mr. Fantastic's own decisions. So we're kind of it's again one of those things where the scientific mind of this universe. So what we've experienced and seen from the original, phase 1 through 3 of the MCU was Tony Stark. And Tony's decisions in a lot of ways caused sometimes more problems than solved them. And I'm wondering if what we see here is that we have Reed Richards, who, in his mind is trying to do something good for, his universe and humanity, and inadvertently is the one who, causes a problem. One thing I have, one other theory I've read, and I think it gets into this as well, is that, potentially Galactus being, this misunderstood entity may come from the fact that what Reed Richards causes is multiversal instability. So by doing, if he ends up achieving this ability of jumping between dimensions, if he is actually causing incursions, for example, that it could be that Galactus is really more trying to maintain universal balance, like he's a force of nature who is intending to bring universal balance, not necessarily a killer of worlds.
Well, either that or, he reads the writing on the wall and he's like, dude, if you collapse this universe, my food supply is gone.
Fair enough. Could be. But it's interesting that it's Richard's, kind of behavior that I think triggers a lot of this. And so, and so in this article, they even say, is the unintentional antagonist Reed Richards? Like, even though he does groundbreaking experiments and, possibly does stuff with multiversal travel or cosmic energy manipulation, were there unintended consequences, that end up, causing damage to the fabric of reality. And therefore he's actually doing more damage to his universe than actually helping it.
I mean, sure, possibility. I mean, we've kind of trod that path, like you said, with Tony Stark before, to the point where it's like, really, Tony Stark is kind of the low key bad guy in Avengers 2. He's the low key antagonist there, where he creates the problem. He also ends up helping to solve it, but at what cost? Sokovia doesn't turn out too well after that.
Yep.
So I mean, we've seen it before, and it would be different to kind of see it blow up in the face of somebody with that level of intellect and that level of knowledge. I mean, there is this thing like we not to go backwards in time here to bring up to pick this scab in particular, but we saw the Council of Kangs. There's also a Council of Reeds in the multiversal, like in a council of Reed Richards from different multiverses, pooling their intelligence because Reed's a pretty smart dude.
Since he's portrayed by Pedro Pascal, I want to see at least one of them basically say, I can bring you in hot, or bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
That would be pretty badass. And Marvel does own both. So I mean, Disney does own both. So I mean,
but I interrupted you as you were making your point, sir. Sorry,
Mr. Iger. Please, can we make this happen? It can be a deleted scene, really.
That's all I ask for.
Could we be wearing a mask too? Okay, never mind. It's getting a little too weird. But I mean, so yeah, it would make sense, and it would be this way of showing like, and thus goes hubris, and here's what happens if it turns out badly. On the other hand, just given the climate of our world, meaning the real world, not the MCU as we know it, but our world, man, I really don't need people having more ammo for like, don't trust scientists, don't trust smart people. There's part of me that just kind of cringes like, we really don't need this right now. We really don't need this. We have like people who are like, that guy on Instagram, he talks some really good stuff. Like, you don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that hurts a little, but I think it's an interesting story point.
It does put an interesting twist on that end credit scene with Thunderbolts, because like if you play, like, let's just play it out this way.
Yeah.
That what we end up finding in Fantastic Four. And again, I don't think it's, when they say Reed Richards is the true antagonist, I don't think Richards is a mustache twirling villain. I think he believes so fully,
like Tony Stark.
Right, he's Tony Stark. He believes so fully in what he's doing and the rightness of it that he doesn't see or acknowledge or understand the damage it's doing to everything around him. And so when that ship escapes, like, I'm just going to throw this out there. I think in that movie, Galactus is going to succeed in devouring Earth, and they are essentially escaping. However, it puts an interesting twist on it when you think about when you first see that ship in that end credit scene, not thinking about this article, you're like, oh gosh, they must be escaping because they lost, or they're hurt or something like that. When in fact, maybe they escape, yes, because they lost, but now this this force of nature known as Reed Richards is now in their universe, and he's already destroyed one. And so now what is he going to do in this one? And this one is the main one of the characters we care about. So it kind of puts a different twist on it, like, oh crap, you don't know what you just got. It's not it puts a different spin on it versus them being like essentially like Galactica, where they're basically they're the four survivors from their universe trying to find now a new home because it's gone. Their original home is gone. That's a very different paradigm. So it's kind of interesting.
It is. I almost feel that's a little dark. I dig it. Trust me. I would go with that. I almost feel like where they're heading now with things with Thunderbolts, I think it could be this idea that Fantastic Four go on a mission, and it's looked at as like, this is likely like a suicide mission. Like we are going to do this, and we are going to save the universe, but we are probably not going to get out of this. And then the worst possible outcome happens, and they fail, but they fail in a way where they actually survive. The universe collapses, and now you're dealing with four people who have the survivor guilt of like their entire universe collapsing, and now they're in this new one going, yeah, we absolutely suck.
Yeah.
We've look what happened. We were supposed to be the greatest thing ever, and because in this we're seeing in this world, like, they are beloved.
Yeah.
They are the toast of the town. They can do no wrong. And what happens if they fail?
Right.
To that degree, and not just fail like, oh yeah, we're all gonna die, including them. Like, no, it's everybody dies, but you live. Like, oh, I almost feel like that's more likely, just given where Thunderbolts kind of took us, where the kind of the issues they were dealing with there. But that's just my knee-jerk reaction as we're speaking. I could totally be wrong.
All right.
I probably am. Let's face it.
You don't give yourself enough credit.
We've both got some very interesting, like, epiglottal throat kind of gaseous noises going on here, because I had one and then I heard you just like, like,
yeah, I don't know.
Star Wars character was trying to escape from your throat. Like, what was that? What was that character that was like, holding Anakin hostage, like the thing there with what was a Wada or something like that?
Watto?
Yeah, it sounded like Watto was trying to like escape out of you.
That is true. It does kind of sound like that. I was trying to think of what Watto sounded like.
Just buzzing.
Yeah.
Buzzing and gurgling. That's really.
Oh gosh, what I love that line where what's the name of Padme's ship that she's flying in? It's like the way he says the model is always so funny to me. He's like, the ship. So I can't think of the name of it though. It's like
the Flying Wasp. Oh no, wait, sorry, that was the Caddyshack thing.
Okay.
Totally different.
Well, I'm going to make a judgment call here, sir. We have a couple and another things to go through. I don't know if these other articles are worth going through right now. Do you want to just skip to the end?
You know what? Let's talk about the Solo character, and then you know what? Let's just get rid of the Back to the Future one, or do we want to boot that forward another week?
It's actually I do want to talk about it with you because it is kind of interesting.
Okay, put that one to the top for next week. Let's do the Solo character to tie into all the Star Wars thing. Bring it full circle.
All right. Well, from fandomwire.com, this article is entitled. Let me fire it up here. A character that could have very easily, be a dude. After 7 years, I'm realizing Emilia Clarke deserved better for breaking George Lucas's Star Wars tradition. And so, really, the heart and soul of this article is the way that Emilia Clarke's character Kira in the Solo movie was a departure from the typical portrayal of female characters in Star Wars. She embodied a morally ambiguous role, a trait often reserved for male characters in the franchise. And Clarke herself noted that Kira was a character that could very easily well be a dude, highlighting the rarity of such complex female roles in the series. I can keep going if you want, or thoughts on that, sir?
I've got to go back and look at who Emilia Clarke was in this.
So she was Kira, who through in Solo, she was initially a love of Han from early on.
Yes.
And then over time, as he becomes,
Kira. I had to actually see it spelled out. Now I'm kind of getting it. Okay.
And over time, they grow in different directions. He, of course, becomes the beloved smuggler that we all enjoy and have come to embrace. And she ends up becoming part of Crimson Dawn, or part of the Crimson Dawn syndicate. Which, toward the end of that movie, she has then become the leader of the Crimson Dawn. And so I kind of, I see the point here, that I think, her character was different. I forget timeline wise where Solo falls in terms of, I think it was after Force Awakens, maybe after Last Jedi. I'm not quite sure. I'm just trying to get a sense of, because we had Rey in that trilogy really kind of break the mold for female characters.
Let's see here. 10 years before the events of A New Hope and about 10 to 14 years after Revenge of the Sith. So honestly, this is like 3-4 years before Andor?
Yes, but sorry, what I meant is in our time. Like where does Solo, when Solo was released, was Rey already established as a strong female character? You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I want to. Well, son of a bitch.
Let me see. When was Solo released? And when was Force Awakens?
Force Awakens. December 18th, 2015 for Force Awakens.
Okay, so 2018 was Solo. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, we already had Ray.
So I kind of understand in a way.
But I get where it's a dual. It's a different type of. It's not as straightforward.
Yeah.
Character like Leia or like Ray, where you're like, okay, we kind of know who this person is. Like they're
right.
Yeah. More of a Lando sort of ish.
Yeah.
Thing where it's like you're not you think you know, but then you don't know, but then you kind of know. Yeah.
I do really feel like, another point in this article was kind of the underutilization of the Kira character. I do think they missed the boat here. I think the storyline of her taking over Crimson Dawn, and with Darth Maul kind of being the shadow leader of it all, I thought could have been a really interesting thing they could have explored. I think unfortunately the Disney was more concerned about the dollars and cents around it and the fact that Solo underperformed, that they, kind of got cold feet and did not, pursue this any further.
Well, you also had remember that was the movie Lord and Miller were supposed to helm, and and Lucasfilm got cold feet because they're like, it's too much humor, and they ended up I forget who ended up directing this thing. Ron Howard. They brought in Ron Howard at the last minute to basically shoot the damn thing.
Yeah.
Who does where? So let's see here. Jonathan Kasdan, Lawrence Kasdan got brought in to write it, but I want to say somewhere along the line, Lord and Miller got some sort of credit. I don't know, but like I don't know if they got a story by or a producer credit or something as a consolation to the fact they got booted from the thing. But yes, there was a lot going on with that flick, and yeah. Oh wow, Solo is one of the most expensive films ever made with a budget of at least $275 million.
Really?
Because they keep in mind, like when you change that with you're changing in production, and then you have to. I believe there was extensive reshoots on it, and reshoots are going to cost you a butt ton of money. Because I believe this was pre volume, where you could just hey, call up those backgrounds. It's like, no, we got to go back and we got to do this. We got to pull people in. We got to do this. We got to do that. It's like big time stuff. Eesh.
Yeah, not good.
No.
Last point that this article makes is Star Wars' need for narrative course correction. Really, it's arguing for the fact they should revisit and maybe expand upon characters like Kira could help the franchise reconnect with its fan base and offer more diverse storytelling. I get it. I mean, we just talked about Ryan Gosling in this Starfighter movie that's supposed to happen, post the post-Queel trilogy, be not, connected to really any, franchise characters, so to speak. I agree. I think we need to see Star Wars move in a direction where it's not so connected to the standard franchise characters and lore, and is seeking to, blaze new trails. And we saw that with Skeleton Crew. We're in our forthcoming episode on Free Range Idiocy Friday. We're going to talk about the Andor season 2, which is steeped in the anchor of episode Rogue One and episode 4, but at the same time it is very much original storytelling with characters that are new and not really tied into the Skywalker saga, so to speak. So I appreciate this, article kind of making the argument of, Kira's character being kind of a bit ahead of its time in terms of breaking, from the traditional gender roles of, female in Star Wars, that the character was underutilized, could have been utilized better, and that, there's still time, and I think there would still be some mileage they could get out of, revisiting Crimson Dawn and kind of her role and telling some of that story. I know Star Wars Outlaws, it was a video game that came out last year. I don't think it had the best launch. I think, I don't know if it was a quality issue or something else, but from what I've read now, it is much improved. And but the idea of telling a story in that sort of smuggler syndicate sort of world, I think holds a lot of promise and is ripe for imagination and for just new and different storytelling. And so I think it'd be kind of interesting if they did something different with her. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got to go back and watch Solo because I think
it's been a while.
rewatch. I think I've only watched it once. And the
Woody
more
Harrelson's in it.
Yeah, and I remember in a way like it was kind of a fun ride.
Yeah.
And I think that there is a good movie there.
Yes.
Well, I should say, I think there's a good story there, and there's a good movie to be had. I think they just, like you said, I think they were going for dollars, which, I mean, let's face it, that's what studios do. You got to make money in order to continue to make more movies, so I get that. I think the whole like switching directors, because if I remember right, I think this was literally a case of Ron Howard being brought in and being like, okay, you've got like weeks to prep. And it's probably a matter of like Howard just essentially like, okay, time to make some chicken salad out of chicken shit, and this is what we're doing. Yeah, it's just too bad because you look at what Lord Miller did with the Spider-Verse movies. Those dudes know how to craft a story, and they know how to mix humor and drama to great effect. And it makes me just look at this and go, because there is so much humor in the Han Solo character in a way, because and it's not intentional humor. Like it's really, Han is kind of the hapless straight man at times, like just overwhelmed in certain situations. And his way of, and that was in the original trilogy. Like, no light speed, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Like he's just kind of this character. You're like, I can't believe he's made it this far.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like there's just so many things happen there. Oh my gosh, I was just looking at this. So the budget, when they say at least 275 million, the budget estimate here on Wikipedia is 275 to $330.4 million.
Jeez.
Now, normally for a movie, I believe and you can look this up for me if you want, I believe when you factor in the budget, essentially it's either half, it's either 50% or a double the budget. Or no, I'm sorry, how am I going to say this? It's essentially half of or the entire budget for advertising. So you're whatever it costs to make the flick, that's how much you're going to spend in advertising to sell the flick. The box office on Solo was $393 million.
Jeez.
And that's after like Force Awakens made close to $2 billion. It made over $1 billion. Damn. Yeah. That hurts. But at the same time, it feels like it's another one of those things like John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran like kind of got done dirty. Like this should not have been. It could have been better. Could have been much better. And I think that's what turned a lot of people off, is because they look at Han Solo as such a beloved character and then see this movie and they're like, seriously? Like, give 100 people a camcorder and you could have probably gotten a better flick. But anyways, maybe I'm just maybe I have a little, kind of pent up rage about this myself. I don't know.
All right. Well, glad we could help get that out of your system. We do need to have Jimmy Dice on to talk about Solo, because we ought to do like
we should do like that should be a commentary track. He would so be up for that. I mean, it's what is it? It's 135 minutes.
Sure.
I mean, that's low. That's less than some of our episodes. So
seen, felt, smelt, and dealt.
I'll see what the lad is up to.
That, my friends, is your Wednesday week in Geek.
Well, sir, thank you very much for once again collating, curating, and putting all these together. I don't know. Are you going in to get your check?
No, I had that last year. Clean as a whistle.
Oh, really? Was that before or after? They go in there and say, "Hey, we can just go in and we can look, or we can send the one in that has the bristles on it."
All right, move on, sir.
and then we pull it out.
Oh, God. I start it and he just goes in a direction. Good God almighty. Oh.
We put some pads on the other side of the room so when you fly off the table, you have
Booyaka.
something soft to land on.
Oh, my God. I need more of this.
Anyways, so what do you have for and another thing as a suggestion and or a recommendation for our listeners / viewers?
Yes. So my and another thing, and I will get up on my soapbox about this. So LFG, WWE LFG on A&E. Yes, there was 3 acronyms I just used there in succession.
It's dizzying.
Had its finale last night. Crowned its first 2 champions, actually 3 champions. The Undertaker came away with the first LFG championship. That's right. They awarded a championship title to the most successful coach of the series. They amassed points throughout the season based on
I'm sure he'll put
different
that belt in a place of honor.
Well,
in his attic.
I think you would not care for the belt style because it's
I saw it.
It's the standard WWE belt, but it's got this like weird corner thing that says LFG on it. It looks really stupid.
Lame. It looks like someone put it together. Like they're so bent on like brand consistency that it's like it takes away all creativity. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And then what's kind of funny is after he gets the belt, he sits down and he's like, wow. He's like, and I don't even have a wrestling school. And he kind of looks over at Booker T and Bully Ray, who both have wrestling school. And Bubba Ray is like, oh, he does that whole like fake laugh bit. I'm just like, oh man, he just roasted those 2. And then they cut to Undertaker and he's like, all I'm saying is, I don't have a school and these guys do. And, and anytime you need me to help coach the coaches, I'm happy to do. I mean, it's just like, it's great to see Mark Calloway this way. He's just talking trash, talking smack, just laying it in.
What's all those? This is like, there's the receipts in wrestling where you potato someone, you hit them for real. A receipt is coming.
Yes.
They're going to get you back.
Yeah.
This is receipts for all those times that guys were trying to get him to break as the Undertaker.
Yeah.
This is like the emotional receipt that's coming like 15 years later. Like, I'm going to wound you on national TV, but I'm going to do it emotionally. It's much more productive.
Yeah. Booker T was not happy about losing. I think he thought he would walk away with it. One of his students did win the NXT contract for the men. His name is Jasper Troy. He is a beast of a man, and he is impressive. On the women's side of things, Tyra May Steele, who is a Olympic gold medalist, ended up walking away with it. Now, here is my issue.
What was she? Just quick question before I forget.
Yeah.
What was she a gold medalist in?
Shoot, I don't remember. Let me just check real quick. Tyra May Steele.
Tiffany Stratton, wasn't she like gymnastics or something? Was she a medalist in
women's freestyle wrestling, winning the gold medal at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021.
Wow.
Became the first Black woman to win gold in women's freestyle wrestling.
Good on her.
Born in Chicago, Illinois. So once again,
man, you got an NXT, you got a Pope.
Telling you, man.
Chicago won.
Chicago is where
city no
where
longer, ladies and gentlemen. It's the second Vatican City, is what it is.
Oh my gosh!
As a lightning bolt cooks my ass right.
Come get you a Pope's Polish sausage.
Oh my gosh, there's got to be so many things going on. I already saw like a shot of like they had Pope Leo with the blues mobile in the background. Like, well, the new Pope needs a Pope mobile. I think there's only one choice. I'm like, yeah.
I love the Portillo's sign. So Portillo's, for those who don't know, is I mean, it's in other states now, but it grew out of the Chicagoland area. It was a burger franchise that just took off around here. Phenomenal food. I mean, just it's amazing food. When they named Pope Leo, yes, they showed a shot of Vatican City with a Portillo's sign now coming out of it. So, which I got to tell you, for lunch and for dinner, you better get there early because the drive-through line gets long. I'm just saying. From personal experience, either get there early or prepare for a long ass wait. It's just how it is.
Communion wafers are going to start looking like Chicago style deep dish pizza. Like
There you
we
go.
have deep dish communion wafers now, ladies and gentlemen.
It's Pizzeria Uno there.
It's not just not the whole. It's not just the body of Christ. It's more of a snack. It's really substantial now.
Yeah, you're gonna walk away. You're gonna walk in weighing one way and walk out about 5-7 pounds heavier.
Well, that's all right.
That's about how the bread. So, anyways, back to LFG. So this is my end. Another thing, for crying out loud, we got to wrap this up. My beef is with all the judges is that I don't feel like there's a consistency in the way they end up deciding who wins, because for last night it was between Tyra May Steele and this other gal who she's Ukraine. Oh, I'm trying to think of her name. I've been watching the show for this long. Who did she beat? Xena. Her name was Xena. And when you see Xena at the beginning of the season, you think she's going to be someone that's going to get eliminated. Like now, and again, the first like 6 to 8 weeks, there's no eliminations. Like they just started doing eliminations, as it's kind of like they do a playoff where they have the competitors compete. They go from 16 down to 8, down to 4, and then the final 2. And Xena was someone who you saw and you're like, she's going to just get chewed up and spit out. And she ends up being the student of the game. Like she comes in and just blows everyone's mind with her technique, with her style, the way she performs in the ring. Like, and Bubba Ray, she's a Bubba Ray student. And so many times every week was always talking about, like, he always has a moment where he says, she's watching tape. I can tell that she watches tape because of some of the stuff she does in the things she's doing in the ring. Like she's getting it,
Yeah.
And all of the coaches had wonderful things to say about her, but they went with Tyra May Steele. And the only thing that I could gather from it is, how do you like when they were talking with Shawn Michaels about it, they're just like, we have an Olympic gold medalist. Think about like what Kurt Angle did coming in, what he did for the business, how he brought like a legitimacy to the business through what he did. And not that they chose Tyra May Steele just because she's a gold medalist, but it factored into it,
Oh, totally, yeah.
And so what bothered me is I felt like from a pure professional wrestling standpoint, I felt like Xena was the whole package because she clearly knows what she's doing. She's got a great personality. She, will shine as a character. And they even said, like Tyra May Steele, her downside was the fact that from a growth perspective, she really hasn't grown a lot across the season. And that's like that part bothers me, because it's like, okay, you've had this person here for almost 16 weeks. If she hasn't shown growth, what makes you think she's going to grow when you give her the contract? So that's some of their decision making was just a little odd to me. And between the men, Shiloh Hill and Jasper Troy, again, I struggle with the decision. I think Jasper was, it wasn't the worst choice in the world to go with Jasper. But Shiloh Hill is another one of those guys where he's a strong hand. You know what I mean? Like he actually, he's another guy who just, and Undertaker says this, he has layers, and you can take a guy who has layers and do a lot of things with a guy like that. Jasper Troy is a killer, but the main selling point for him was like, this guy we can plug him into NXT now. Like we can plug him on the show now, and he's going to have a presence. He can challenge like Taker said this to Shawn Michaels, like he can challenge your champion right now, like in terms of size and in terms of what he does in the ring. And so I don't know. It's, to me, if I was in the business, it would drive me insane that no matter how hard I worked or something like that, something intangible, something that I can't control could lead to someone getting an opportunity over me. And like, I felt Xena really, for the women, I felt Xena worked her rear end off on the show, had great matches consistently. She earned pretty much all of Bubba Ray's points for his team. Like she was chosen consistently as being a top, match for the women, and yet doesn't get the contract. And it's just like, it just doesn't feel right to me. You know what I mean? Like that's just me though. That's just so.
Well,
all that to say, check out LFG. See what I'm talking about. See if your blood boils as well. It's just, it is what it is. It's entertainment.
It's one of those things where my first thought is like you look at like American Idol shows like that, and a lot of the folks who have actually wound up having, a career, and I'm not talking necessarily a career that's, taken them, to Taylor Swift levels, but like a career where like they don't have to go to, working at Chester's Chicken Shack for, 40 hours a week and play gigs, weddings on the weekend. Like they make their living off of touring and playing shows, which is not an easy thing to do. A lot of those folks didn't win the show. They're like the second and third place finishers, but those are the folks who actually have staying power. Like
yeah.
Like, because at the end of the day, you're looking for like, for this show or for a competition show like American Idol and all that, you're looking for the sizzle to end the show. Like, what's the best story for the show and all that. It's not, and in some cases, like, even though, oh yeah, you get a record contract, like, yeah. Oh yeah, like that costs the record company nothing. They will drop you like a bad habit as soon as those numbers don't add up in their favor, and they're already, ginned up in their favor anyways. Kind of the same with NXT. I'm sure that is, as much as things have changed in WWE with Triple H in charge, it's still an opportunity. There's very few people have guaranteed money that they're making. So, and especially not a couple of, jabronis who are showing up off of like this new reality TV, like Tough Enough version 3.0 or whatever we're on. So we'll see. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if this Xena lady gets signed eventually, or she finds her way onto that. Wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, just to finish up with, like, it's great to say, oh, Kurt Angle, gold medalist, and all this. Yeah, great. You already had the world's strongest man in Mark Henry, and it took him, 8-9 years in his career to finally kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
And for the company to figure out how to market him and how to use him. And that dude had all the pop. Like, not everyone is Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is barely Kurt Angle without a couple of breaks here or there. Like, look at Chad Gable.
Yeah.
That dude's got some cred. Look at Gable Stevenson, who they just dropped not that long ago.
Yeah.
And that dude had a medal.
Yep.
So it's like, you can't just go always, but that's what happens in sports and with companies and everything. They're always chasing, like, ooh, the should be this and that. And they're like, yeah, that's boring though. This person who looks like they could actually build and become something. No, go for the flashy thing.
Right.
And it usually, it doesn't turn out well for them, but it turns out well once in a blue moon, which is what everyone grasps a hold of in cases like that.
Yeah.
And yes, it is frustrating as hell.
And you're absolutely right. It could end up that Xena and Shiloh end up making it big in NXT. And all the coaches were very gracious to the runners up. Like, they had nothing but positive things to say there. And I know they're saying this on a show or whatever, but I honestly believe, like, this set of coaches, like, if they know that these folks are sincere and respectful for the business, I'm sure they want to see them succeed and would support them. And so, like you said, I have no doubt they're probably going to show up in one form or another at some point, because you can't keep talent like that down. It's just, frustrating to see, someone who you think probably deserves it, not get it. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is and another thing. 15 minutes later, LFG, WWE LFG on A&E.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. I'm going to keep mine relatively quick, just because I did not do a bunch of trivia lookup on this, so I'm just going to plug it because I was listening to this album this past weekend, and I've been on a big Muddy Waters kick lately. And for those of you who don't know, Muddy Waters, one of the greatest bluesmen ever. Kind of the voice of the blues, and should be very familiar to the man they call Tim, because Chicago was his home, Chess Records. And one of the things I actually wanted to do when I was out there, and one of the things I will do when I go out there again, is I want to visit Muddy Waters' house just to say I was there. But nice. I'm going to recommend for our listeners / viewers Muddy Waters' 1969 album Fathers and Sons, and this features Otis Spahn, Paul Butterfield, Mike Bloomfield, Donald Duck Dunn, ladies and gentlemen, he of the Blues Brothers and of Stax Records, and Sam Lay, amongst others on this album. And it has just it's not quite a murderer's row, although you could make a case that most Muddy Waters albums, if it's Muddy singing, it's a murderer's row of songs. But here you've got First of all, you got I'm Ready, which is fantastic blues song. Another one that I loved, Stand Around Crying, 40 Days, 40 Nights. Where is it? Can't Lose What You Never Had. It was a song I'd never really listened a whole lot to, and as I was driving around this weekend, I was like, holy crap, this is a freaking killer. Mean Disposition, great song, but overall, just a great album. I'm linking to the version on Apple Music because it does have a bunch of live and kind of outtake sort of things going on there too, so you get a little more bang for your buck. But if you are even relatively interested in or have an affinity for the blues and you have not checked out Muddy Waters, I'm not here to shame you because there's probably a lot of blues folks that folks could name, and I have not listened to them, and I love listening to blues, but there's just a whole lot out there and it's a whole lot of history. But man, Muddy Waters is so important. Like literally, the Rolling Stones got their name from a Muddy Waters song. So I mean, and they were the ones who tried to cover Muddy Waters and like, we're never going to be as cool as him, so just speed it up and we'll try and make it on speed. Just a fantastic rabbit hole to go down, listening to Muddy Waters over a weekend or over a week. You could do a lot worse with your time, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, check out Fathers and Sons, and then I would recommend just going through the entire catalog, including my personal favorite Muddy Waters album, Hard Again, which is just friggin' phenomenal. It's the one that has Manish Boy on it, Bus Driver, oh my gosh, Cross-Eyed Cat, which is my favorite actually off the album. But anyways, Fathers and Sons is fantastic too, so be sure to check that one out ASAP.
Nice. Very nice.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings a close to Week in Geek Wednesday. Thank you all for joining us. We so appreciate it. If you go to freerangeidiocy.com, you can download all of our episodes there one by one, or just grab them all if you want. That would shoot our numbers up big time, and hell, we love that. You can also subscribe to the Podbean app there. If you're thinking I've got plenty of apps in my life and you have another podcast purveyor, go ahead and search for us there. We're on all of the major podcast purveyors, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, whatever the hell they call that, all the others. Go ahead and search for Free Range Idiocy. You'll find us. I'm sure we are also full video episodes available on our YouTube channel as well as on Spotify. You can find us on the social medias on the aforementioned YouTube. We're on the Instagram and on Facebook. All of those are at Free Range Idiocy. If you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, things you'd like us to talk about, you can send those to tim@freerangeidiocy.com. That just about covers it. Any final words to take us home here, sir?
See you out there in the stars.
Good God, you've got to come
Brother.
up with something better than that. You've got to come up with something else. Just sad.
Love it.
It's not up to your level, sir.
Hey, you know what? As the Nature Boy would say, like it or don't like it, learn to love it because it's the best thing going today. Woo!
You're wrong.
Now get the hell out of here!